New York, unique New York.
Hi, I'm G, or you also know me as Mama G, and today I thought I would share some of my best travel tips. So to preface, I've been to Vietnam, the Philippines, Costa Rica, Guatemala. Like, I've been to a handful of countries alone. I've done my fair share of traveling, but there have been many times that I've done it completely solo because I didn't have the friends to go do the traveling with, or I really wanted to venture out and do my own thing so that I could explore and understand myself a little bit better. And so, me, your big sister Ate, you know, I'll give you a little bit of insight into how to do it if you've never done it before, or maybe these can be tips and tricks that you implement for your next journey. So, my first freaking tip, do not overplan your trip. Do not do it. Do not have a 2-week itinerary filled with buses and vans that are already pre-booked because, okay, little anecdotal evidence. I was a part of an MLM. I was in a pyramid scheme. Lady, do you want to leave? Is this what you want to do? I was in an MLM/pyramid scheme when I was in my first year of college. I just stopped drinking the Kool-Aid, stopped getting so obsessed with the entrepreneurial mindset that I ended up getting out of it. But I already booked a flight to go to a freaking conference for it, and I decided to call the airline. I ended up getting a voucher for it, and I'm like, you know what, let's go travel solo for the first time ever. And I went to Costa Rica, and I'd never traveled solo before, and I was so afraid of not having anything to do or wanting everything pre-planned so that I felt like I had some stability in my life. I ended up booking like, boom, a van for this day, and I'll be here for 2 days and here for 3 days, and then I can go here and here and here. And the first place that I traveled to, I ended up meeting 2 girls that I fell in love with. They were amazing people. And I had to say goodbye the next day that I met them because I had already booked a van to my next excursion. It was heartbreaking, but it was exactly what I needed to realize, that I should never do this again. You always should leave room for spontaneity. But to be honest with you, it was probably a good thing to a certain extent. I don't know how fate twisted her magic stick, but basically those 2 girls I ended up like having a really strong connection with. They were best friends. I think they still are. But we ended up planning a trip to go to Asia, and I already shared the story before, but they ended up ditching me in Vietnam, and I'm no longer in contact with these girls. I hope you both are well. I don't know where you are, but it is what it is. Set the right intentions. If you are planning on going to a trip to meet all of your best friends forever, you know, meet the love of your life, you're gonna end up spending that entire trip looking, endlessly searching, and being disappointed when it doesn't happen. When I was going throughout Vietnam and the Philippines, I kept searching for the right connection to make me feel like I was with like soul fam. But every single person I introduced myself to, it was off season at these times, I ended up getting so disappointed because we didn't resonate at the same frequency. We didn't laugh at the same things. And so of course these trips ended up being a huge disappointment to me because I just didn't receive the support that I knew I needed. And now I'm thankful because I have channels like my phone to connect to the people that really truly resonate with me. And so if I could go back and change my intentions for that trip, it would be to be completely alone, to be my own best friend, to read more, to explore more of the way that I think on a day-to-day basis. And I wouldn't have been so caught up and attached to the idea of meeting my best friends for life had I realized that I was already my best friend for life. Next thing, honey, if you are not comfortable with being alone, this is the perfect opportunity to do so. Which leads me into another tip: stop scrolling mindlessly and start reading. Solo travel is exceptionally amazing when it comes to self-education. You're exposed to new environments, new people, new places, new things, and in that way, you're kind of forced to get out of your comfort zone and learn and be in more of a receptive, accepting mindset. And so if you're filling your mind with Instagram, TikTok, all of these things, which is okay sometimes, you know, you gotta take a brain break sometimes. But when you're doing that all the time, you're filling your brain, your spongy brain with nonsense when you could be educating yourself and becoming a better writer. Get comfortable with being alone. Like, find a cute cafe, go on a walk, go on a hike, listen to some brilliant, beautiful music. Allow your brain to just explore itself in ways that you don't usually let it. And also, be as present as humanly possible. Try your best to be always so present. So this is my biggest trick, my biggest trick. When I went to Asia, when I went to Costa Rica the first time that I went, I had no intentions. I had nothing planned that allowed me to be in environments where I would meet people. It would always be up to fate, up to chance. Ooh, if I went to a hostel here or an excursion there, maybe I'll make homies with the other people that are attending it. And sometimes that happens, but most of the time, you don't know if you'll resonate with those people. So the second time I went to Costa Rica, I ended up joining an acro yoga camp. That was the entire intention of being there, so that I can improve upon my acro yoga skills and just enjoy myself and become better. This is when I was first starting into acro yoga. I ended up making really amazing friends at that camp because you were around these people every single day, eating lunch with them, talking to them, like getting to know them in those breaks in between. In that, I made it a whole new group of friends that I ended up going to Envision with straight after this festival in Costa Rica. My goodness gracious, it made that first trip to Costa Rica look like garbaggio, because that second time, the people that I met totally resonated with me, and it made me realize like a majority of the reason why trips are so good, yes, the environment, yes, the food, yes to all these new adventures, but the people that you're exposed to from all over the world who have that same open-minded, free exploration mindset to travel to a place that they've never been to before, you're guaranteed to meet people that you are on the same wavelength with, for real. Like, some of the best friends that I've ever met now have been people that I met traveling and people that I've traveled with. If you want to speed run your relationship with someone, travel with them overnight. Like, you'll see the depths and the highs and the peaks and the valleys of who they are and what they can be, you know, what they're capable of. Yeah, if you're considering going on a trip but you want to meet friends, sign up for a yoga retreat, sign up for another camp, sign up for a festival as being a part of their crew. Put yourself in situations where you are bound to meet people who are in a similar state as you. Honestly, it's like school. It's like when you're at school, you end up making friends with people because you're forced to. Who are you gonna spend lunch with? Who are you gonna talk to in class? Your fellow classmates. So it's the same way when you go traveling. Like, sign up for something. Sign up for something. Another thing to be prepared for is if you are getting sick. If you're doing a long haul travel situation, like say 1 month to 2 months plus, the likelihood of you getting sick is like 90%. Sorry, just letting you know that. When I went to the Philippines alone, I ended up making friends with another girl, but I was staying at a hostel. I was staying in a hostel and I ended up getting like the stomach bug, and it was not a pretty sight to see because it was coming out of me in all the ends. And it was a weird iffy situation where I was staying in the lobby or something like that, but it sucked. The biggest travel tip I have when it comes to stomach flus and viruses, when you're vomiting and you have food poisoning, fasting. I am so certain that because we don't even have an appetite, it's because our body is regenerating itself. The health benefits of fasting alone are proof that it's the most beneficial thing that you could do. Drink a lot of water though, don't get me wrong, drink a lot of water, but in these situations, this is where an emergency fund is so necessary, because you should book a private space for yourself. And I'm sure if you connect with people who work at that lobby, that they could help you get the right medicine and get the right food so that you can survive a couple days being completely out. But yeah, leave room for the possibility of getting sick and be mentally prepared for it. I do not travel without a first aid kit that is stocked to the brim with all the medication that I could possibly need. For me, I try to avoid as much as possible even taking an Advil, but sometimes, you know, when you're in it, when you're freaking in it, you need your stuff. So I have a bag filled with Imodium, which is good for anti-diarrheal. I have antihistamines for my allergies. I have usually the anti-constipation stuff. I think that's what Imodium. Anyways, yeah, Advil, Tylenol, whatever I need. Yes, be prepared. Another tip that I have a secret location for your money. There was a compartment in my bag that is only meant for, like, I think the structural integrity of the bag because it's at the bottom, but it was velcroed in a specific way that I could stuff a whole bunch of cash in there, and that was where I hid my money. If you get pulled over by some corrupt cops in some foreign country and they see that you are stacking, they will find some rhyme or reason to charge you an obscene amount of money because they know that you have it. So if you have it hidden away in a specific compartment where they don't know it, you can be like, oh, I have nothing, I don't have any money, sorry buddy. Or you can negotiate paying them a fraction of what they would have asked you for. So essentially, I think that having a secret compartment is so necessary, so vital, just in case you do end up getting sick or something happens where you damage someone's bike, your phone gets stolen. Honestly, shit happens. And so having like at least $400 to $500, I'd say maybe, if you can afford that, off on the side, you're set. That way, if something really bad happens, then you know that you're covered and that you got yourself. That's another mentality that I wanted to talk about. You really have to embody the parent. Being your own mama, being your own father, like, for real. Like, there have been moments where I've been exhausted. I've been so tired where I didn't want to do anything, but then I had to be in my mama G energy where I'm like, all right, we have to figure out how to get to the airport from this place at this specific time. When do I need to get up? When do I need to book an alarm clock? When do I need to wake up so that I can order a taxi or an Uber in a specific time so that I'm at the airport 3 hours earlier than I need to be? Do I have all my paperwork in order so that I'm able to actually travel to these countries? Am I going to be prepared for what is coming to me? So that entails being in my fatherly masculine, like Googling stuff well in advance so that I know that I won't show up at the airport unprepared and having to miss a flight just because I didn't do my research. So always do research, always be prepared to get into your parent mode because you never know what can happen. And then when you do have it figured out, you have no idea how much I appreciate and admire myself in those moments where things are figured out and I can just sit and just be a freaking potato knowing full and well that everything is taken care of and accounted for me. It's honestly the best thing you can do, like do everything for future you, essentially. This is the prime time to practice your intuition. This might sound woo-woo, but for me, my audience should be woo, so I'm gonna talk all about intuition freely. So intuition for me has been the biggest help when it comes to traveling because it has stopped me from making mistakes and has led me to specific paths where I've met people that I completely freaking resonate with. So as an example, when I last went to Guatemala, when I first arrived, I ended up coming way too late, ended up arriving at 2 in the morning, and I had to stand outside for at least an hour, like knocking on the door, trying to get in. I totally could have just left and found another hotel to stay in, but my intuition was like, girl, you better stay. You better stay in this exact position right here, right now, and knock until your knuckles fall off because you are meant to be here. And I ended up finally getting let in by one of the people that worked there. I'm so sorry, Anna, thank you so much for letting me in. But the morning after I slept in, ended up at that exact moment meeting someone that I consider one of my friends for life now. And if I had stayed at a hotel, I probably wouldn't have showed up until hours and hours later, and I probably would have missed her, and all these different synchronicities happen exactly as they were meant to, because my intuition has been like my guide. It has been the voice in my ear telling me, you know, you should do this, you shouldn't do this, follow that path, don't say yes, say yes. Like, it has definitely helped me in so many ways, and it has been an invaluable travel companion. And I hope that when you travel solo that you're able to explore more of your intuition, because it is guaranteed going to be the thing that really helps you. And I feel like there's a theory where it's like your intuition is your future self giving you tips for present you. So if you're your own mama, if you're your own father, like, hell the frick yeah, listen to your intuition. It's telling you something. Yo, I should have started this straight off the bat, but do not ride a motorbike unless you are hella experienced riding a motorbike. If I had known this beforehand, I probably would have never even set foot on a bike. I went to the Philippines. I ended up getting convinced by a new French friend of mine to ride a bike, and I was so nervous about it, but the guy that was renting it out to me, a young, probably 16, 17-year-old boy, was counting my money, being like, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. I ended up getting like face in the worst way. I don't drink, so I got a face. And thank God I was wearing a helmet, which is the second tip. Always wear a freaking helmet whenever you're riding anything. Oh my goodness. But I ended up getting in a pretty bad accident where I like scraped on my elbow here. My knee was a little bit messed up. It's still messed up to this day, and my ankle got sprained. But yeah, do not ride a motorbike unless you're hell experienced. For the love of all things good and homey on this slowly decaying planet, wear that dang helmet. Wear the helmet. It saved my life. I probably would have gotten concussed. Alright, and my last beautiful little tip for you, my formula for the most potent energy that you could ever exude. Confidence is common sense and humility. If you walk around traveling in the fullest confidence that you are taking care of yourself, that your ability to problem solve and have common sense for the most minute things is there, and you're humble about making mistakes and you're open-minded to learning more, then you're gonna be fucking dandy. Travel is going to be so good for you, and if you have the open-minded optimism to know that every mistake is a way for you to practice getting better, then you'll be completely fine. I have so much faith that this travel experience for you is going to be exactly what you need to be the best version of yourself and to improve and strive towards becoming a better version of yourself every day. And just be good to yourself. It's not going to be easy. There are going to be moments where you get really frustrated and really annoyed and really agitated, but it's going to make those moments of rest and relaxation so much more worth it. You're going to meet people, you're going to meet yourself in ways that you never have before, and honest to goodness, I would not be the person that I am today, as cliche as it sounds, if I didn't do as much exploring as I have been. And I guarantee you it's not going to stop here. It's in my blood at this point. Traveling is something that I will never ever ever give up. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video. There was a lot of tips and tricks that I wish I had known myself. If you liked it, like it, subscribe if you haven't already. And I would love to hear from you. Share some of your travel experiences down below. I want to hear about some things that I didn't mention here that you wish you had known yourself, because we could all learn. And my last tip and trick for you is to be kind, especially to yourself. Mwah. See you next Monday.